really proud of this team. Great team win. Playoffs are, there's so much more at stake. Do or die, survive in advance. The two young women next to me did such an amazing job. I mean, Ellen had, an amazing game all around. So much of what she does doesn't come up on the stat sheet. She's the most everything player, defending the team's best player, coming up with those huge threes, big stops. And Kayla, again, just, everybody's keying in on her, double teaming her, they were unbelievably physical. I thought they did a nice job. I thought UMass Lowell did a nice job being physical and bumping us. But, just staying relentless and staying committed, getting on the boards, coming up with big momentum plays. And again, our team defense was tremendous tonight, holding that team to 51 points. Felt really good to get that win under our belts, and just total team effort.
Yeah, with UMass Lowell got within 2, you called a timeout. What was said, what plays were drawn up in that huddle, and then Ellen, I think, hit the 3 right out of that?
I think it was just more to take a deep breath and to focus on our defense. We felt like we weren't protecting the 3-point line the way we wanted to. Our hands weren't up. We weren't distracting them and making them feel uncomfortable. We wanted to be more aggressive. And we kind of pushed a little lead, got comfortable, and then they pushed back and took the lead on us. So, we knew from the last game that our pressure defense and our ability to score in transition was really the difference maker. So I just told them all to take a deep breath, to work the ball side to side, but to focus on getting stops and have our good defense fuel our offense.
Coach, we've talked a lot about having veteran players back that have been here before. So for you, how much did that play out in the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter there, and then for Kayla and Ellen, just how comfortable did you guys feel in those moments knowing you were there before?
Sure. Yes, I think that their experience is invaluable. They've been there before. Last year they won a quarterfinal game, a semifinal game, and a final game on the road. They know what it takes. They know the urgency that both teams have. Everybody has a 0-0 record. UMass Lowell is a 7th seed. They're not supposed to win. They can play with a different sense of looseness than we can. But at the end of the day, they found a way. They grinded it out. But the interesting piece is that they just want it so bad that when you want something so bad, you have a tendency to press and to go faster and to push more. And as a coach, you're just trying to remind them to do what we do best, stay consistent for what we do. We don't have to be the best team in the country today. We just have to be the best team on the floor. And as soon as we settled in and got comfortable, our defense, we got a couple steals. Morgan had a couple steals. Their experience and their will to win and their commitment to each other really took over.
Yeah, like you said, we knew this game was going to be a hard one in the quarterfinal. Last year we played New Hampshire and it was kind of the same way. So we have that experience. We know what it takes. We just didn't want to lose. We know we were playing for our seniors, so we really just dug in.
Yeah, I think this year we're very experienced, like you said, and there's definitely a sense of calmness to that. We trusted each other so much, and we know we have each other's backs. So even when the opponent gets in a run or gets closer to us, we always know that we just need to come back together, and we're fine. We never feel frantic or pressed in those situations. I think definitely our experience helps us a lot with that.
It was back-to-back threes. Was UMass Lowell kind of just backing off you a little bit and more concerned about the paint? Was that what caused the open looks that Dr. didn't nail those threes?
Yeah, I mean, we started running those plays where we can get those looks in the corner or slips, which we were getting more so in the beginning of the game. So probably the way they started playing that play. But yeah, I think that was what was open right there and then, so that's what we got there.
So it's for Kayla. You guys seem like you were dominating the paint, but for whatever reason, they seem to be shooting at outside three. Even when they didn't make it, they kind of benefited from like a foul. So long story short, why do you think they seem to be successful shooting outside? Clearly inside they weren't doing anything with you guys in the middle.
I think it's because we wanted to focus on being in the gap so they couldn't drive to the basket. So when we were focusing on that, we did leave the shooters out a little bit too much, and there's people who were playing as drivers who were just hanging it down. Anyone could be be lucky from the three. So I think once they started getting momentum with those open shots, that's what they really tried to take because we were walking down the paint.
This is for Coach A. You saying your name right? Right?
It's Ellen.
Okay, all right. Are you concerned about that moving forward? Because it seems like that three-point shot. Every team that plays you, they seem to pray for that three-point shot. Like, it seems like that's their go-to to try to beat you guys. Are you guys concerned about that down the line?
Well, playing against UMass Lowell, they were statistically the lowest three-point shooting team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have played them in zone and really just tried to contain their penetration. And when they get penetration and hit the paint, that's when they can get kick-out shots. But, we consistently have been defending people at the three at a pretty good level just because we have the #1 defense. But, you have to pick your poison. And, Sanchez was shooting, I don't know for sure, I don't want to quote myself, but under 20% going into the game. But you still have to have your hands up, so we knew we needed to press up a little bit. But she's really good when she gets into the paint. So, you're playing statistics, you're playing, percentages. But at the end of the day, you have to hope that you make those in-game adjustments. They start hitting shots, you make adjustments, and that's what we did.
How do you defend a player like Dowdy who's so physical inside? And are there any, do you learn from defending her and then going up against Adriana Smith next week for Maine?
Defending Dowdy, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dowdy's athletic, and she just is a workhorse. She got, I think, how many awards? She ended up having 8 offensive rebounds. She just really is a force in there. We had to do a couple different things defensively on her ball screens. We were trying to, push the guards back a little bit. Then we went to switching. We were trying to double. Then we were trying to dig. But Adriana Smith is, was chosen to be the player of the year this year. She's shooting a very high percentage, and Ann Simon's back. So, we're going to have to be locked in on taking away the paint, defending a lot of actions. Actions that we practice a lot because we run a similar offense, but really having a great game plan and executing a terrific game plan against her and against Ann Simon.
We're just going to take a quick break. Let her get on TV.
I agree. See you on TV.
I'll see you around.
And Mike, go ahead.
Colleen, just curious, Vermont got off to an early start today. Were you guys paying attention to that score at all? And did you kind of use that as a reminder of, hey, seeds don't really mean anything because it was kind of close all the way to the end?
I know some of the coaches, like Megan always is, there's a game earlier, she looks at it. I try not to look at anything. I don't even watch any film on another opponent until our game's done. So, that makes me be a little bit busy as soon as the game's over, but I really like to focus on what's in front of me. I think it's distracting. But the other, staff were cluing me in. I was like, oh, what's the score? Oh, it's 3. Don't want to tell me, but, so I was getting the updates, but I think it's just it's called March Madness for a reason. Anything can happen. Back my second year, we had a really tough year. We were the 8th seed, and we went to Stony Brook, the 1 seed, and we never trailed the entire game till the last second and sent it to overtime, and we ended up losing at Stony Brook, and that was really tough, and that would have been a huge win for our program. But anything can happen. The top 4 seeds have moved on, but it's time to really learn from this game and then be super focused on Maine, because I think UMBC, Vermont, and Maine are all really talented teams. But it's interesting that the score of Vermont ended up being very similar to the score of our game.
For the players, how long are you guys going to spend celebrating this win before refocusing for Sunday's game?
Yeah, usually it's the night, maybe the day after if you get some time to focus on something else. But it's really a quick turnaround. It's March, you have to be really focused. So, and also it's exciting to play Maine again and to go into the semifinal. So definitely just enjoying that we won this game and we're moving forward, but still just preparing for it for the next opponent.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you got a question? On a scale of 1 to 10, and all 3 I can answer, I'm pretty sure Maine is just as happy to see you guys again as happy as you are, because you did a lot of damage by that last victory. So they're looking at it like you done took our home field advantage away. That last game, and considering the way that first game went, I mean, what's the, I don't want to use the word confidence level, but I guess, how do you feel on scale of 1 to 10? Like, are you, it's just another opponent? I mean, you're not looking at his name, but we all know that means a big bad wolf in the conference. So how do you guys look at this? Like, what's your perception of it going into this come Sunday?
I think what will help us is just looking at them as a different team. You know, Maine, they have a lot of good scorers. They have a lot of people who are very dangerous, but to keep us not frantic and to keep us together, I think just looking at it as a different team, but just remembering they have to come to us this time and just remember to come with that same intensity as we had the last game.
Yeah, I think definitely a balance of being confident but also being humble. I think we've done a good job throughout this season. We're just seeing it as the next opponent, and whatever the coaches tells us about the scout, that's what we got to do. It doesn't matter what's the name on their chest or whatever team we're playing. Just go up as the next opponent.
And Maine is very disciplined. We have to have a really disciplined defense. We have to be disciplined for 30 seconds every possession to defend them, to stay in a stance, to be locked down, to be talking, because they are so dynamic. And with Ann Simon coming back, she just had, I think, 24 points tonight. She's fresh. She's been out. Her legs are fresh, and she's going to be somebody that's going to be really focused. So, we have to defend them and guard them, but they also have to defend us. And we have to think about it as 0-0 going in there and being just really focused on a game plan similar to when we went up there. We were locked in on what we needed to do. We let the game come to us. They played with poise and composure, and that's going to be the name of the game.
Were the first 2 quarters a reminder of how close these games can be and how much every team is fighting, or do you guys feel like you understood that coming in?
Yeah, I think definitely the quarterfinal, if we look back at last year as well, it's really tough. It's the first game we're playing against a lower seed that definitely doesn't really have anything to lose, so we're going to get a good game from them. And we're playing UMass Lowell. They have been on a winning streak, and they're a very tough team. So we definitely knew that it was going to be a very tough game. But I think at halftime we still felt calm with where we were. It was a tie at halftime, so we knew that we were missing some shots that we usually make and weren't really getting all the stops that we might want to, but it was still a tight game, so we felt pretty calm with just keep pushing it when we came back up.
Kayla, I take it you agree with that assessment?
I do. Every game is going to be crazy this whole run. Everyone wants the same thing, so we just have to come with the same intensity that we always have and just stay together.
Kayla, at the end of the third quarter, maybe it wasn't a game-changing play or anything, but you guys had like 6 seconds to get the length of the court. You made a layup at the buzzer to go up 4. How big was that play, and also did you have like one eye on the clock, and because it looked like you were pretty calm and knew you were going to be able to get it in before the buzzer?
I think that was a pretty big momentum changer for me. I think, I had a little bit of difficulty throughout the whole game, but I just knew that, there was only 6 seconds left and I had the lane to go, so I used my confidence to go and use that to help me propel me into the fourth quarter.
Deshaun.
On a night where UMass was able to hold you guys under 40% shooting, and this question is for any one of you guys, can you talk about the stuff that might not show up on a stat sheet, the hustle plays, the rebounding, because I think that's the things that got you through tonight. Can you talk about some of the hustle plays that got you guys over tonight?
Yeah, I think Morgan did a very good job. She had a couple of steals, but I think just the energy that she brought on defense, she really set a tone that just trickled down the team. So I think definitely her just buying into that role and knowing that that's what we need right now was huge, and it gave us a lot of confidence and just a lot of go and energy. So I think definitely that energy, even though her steals might show up, but just the energy and everything that she brought in that sense was definitely a momentum changing for us.
Anyone else have any questions?
Last question.
Oh, go ahead.
So I asked the other coach, today is March, it's the start of Women's History Month, so this question is for all 3 of you. Can you name your inspiration to start out the month for Women's History Month?
I'm this strange fan of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I think she was very inspirational, so I always go back to her.
For me, someone that I definitely look up to a lot is my mom. She went through a lot just to make sure that her kids had better than what she had, so I think it's very inspiring for me.
Coach.
I would definitely say my grandmother, who's not with us anymore, but she's somebody that was, you know, just an unbelievable sounding board to everybody that she knew. And, you know, lived through a time where, you know, women got the right to vote, and she worked in a mill, and she went down to DC when people went away to war, and, you know, she had a you know, a life and saw different things in her life, and as for me, having a best friend and a grandmother, and somebody to look up to and be another person that loves you is always so inspiring, and I really think about her every day,